Hi everyone, I am T. Hirsch III, and today I will be playing FEZ. So I will be playing through today the full completion category, which is basically 100%, collect all collectibles, visit every room, solve all the puzzles, etc. Which is a pretty cool category, because you visit a lot of the places that you wouldn't normally visit in an any percent run or some of the other categories. So I am going to just get started. Um, there's some cutscenes at the beginning, so I'll be able to explain some things during them. And time starts right when I hit A on this speedrun button. So time will start in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright. So, FEZ is a really cool puzzle platforming game that sort of it looks like it is a two-dimensional game, like you'll see coming up. Looks like a nice 2D platformer with pixel graphics. But as you'll see shortly, this game is actually fully three-dimensional, and sort of the main core mechanic of this game is that once you get the FEZ, right, which is coming up as part of these cutscenes, you will be able to rotate which perspective you're viewing the level at, right? So you can sort of view the level in one of four perspectives, and you can use that to do some really cool platforming. So yeah, in the speedrun, we get to we use perspective as a way to get through a lot of levels faster than you're supposed to. By rotating and turning the camera certain ways, we can sort of, walk in front of objects to sort of teleport us to the front of the level and then rotate, and it can let us get through some things really fast, as well as some techniques that let us teleport to sort of behind things, which we use throughout the level. It's kind of hard to explain without showing visual examples, so you will get to see plenty of examples throughout the game. After we get through some cutscenes here. This right here, this big yellow cube, is the hexahedron. And it gives us this FEZ. I don't really understand this intro cutscene. There's this is some story, lore, kind of weird stuff. But we get the FEZ, which allows us to sort of perceive the world in 3 dimensions. Whoa. And then this hexahedron explodes for some reason. Don't completely understand, but explodes into a bunch of cubes. So now we have to go around and collect all the cubes and put the hexahedron back together. So that's kind of the story. It's kind of the story here. And the game sort of fake crashes because the hexahedron exploded and now the universe is unstable. So we gotta go get the hexahedron and put it back together. And that's what we will do. And collect everything else along the way too. So right off the bat, I'm going to enter in a secret code. There are a lot of codes in this game that you sort of figure out by solving puzzles. And I'm not going to spoil the puzzles as part of this run. I mean, this is a 100% run, so if you do watch this, you're going to get spoiled. But the puzzles themselves, most of them just involve entering in codes. And you get to figure out those codes by playing the game. And so I'm not going to tell you how to solve those, because you really should go play this game. This game is fantastic. And once you've played it, just casually, then go speedrun it too, because we're looking for more speedrunners. So we fall down there to open that door, which means we don't have to wait for it to open up later. And there's basically no penalty for dying in this game. You do take fall damage, but it just puts you back where you were. This game is not meant to be like a hardcore game. So as you can see now, we have perspective, so we can rotate this village, which is actually totally 3D, and go ahead and collect some bits. So these bits, 8 of them form a cube. And so we're collecting all of the bits in the village, and that will give us a full golden cube. As well as opening chests, those give us keys, and we use keys to open locked doors, which you will see one very soon. Some of these rooms, we just have to go into them to go into them. In the speedrun, they don't really do anything, but for like, some of them have lore in them, so they count as rooms, and for full completion, we need to go into all of them. So here's a locked door, and we go into it. And I enter in a code. We can grab a map and a cube at the same time, and that sort of saves us from having to sit through an animation, which is kind of nice. So now we finally left the village, and now we get to go sort of into the world. And we start off by climbing this tower. And now we got the 8 bits, that'll give us a cube. And you want to make it in front of that door, because then you get to open up the animation and play the animation of the cube at the same time. That saves a little bit of time. Alright, so this game runs on a lot of this game is sort of on a cycle, where you need to talk to 4 owls to unlock one of the secret rooms that we go into at the end of the game. And owls are only out at night, so that means for a lot of this game, you're actually on a cycle. And right here at the very start, this first owl is actually kind of tricky. So you can see it's starting to become day. It's, the sky is pretty pink. So I'm really hoping I make this first owl cycle, because if I make this first one, then we should be good. Please stay there. Nice. Okay, so I made the first owl cycle, which is very good. Oops. Didn't realize you could die from that. Go. I was struggling to enter in that code a little bit, but we got it. So here, I get into this area and I lower the water as far down as it can go, and that allows us to enter sort of areas that are locked behind water, or sort of below the water, so they're you can't get them unless you lower the water. And we'll get a chest. Now maps in this game, they give you information about how to solve certain puzzles. Now in a speedrun, we already have all the information, but in full completion, you need to get them. In most categories, you can just skip the maps because you actually already know all the information. So here, this is one of the hardest puzzles in the game. There are 3 puzzles in this game that are very difficult, that give you some pretty special hidden items. And this is one of them. And it involves, in order to solve this puzzle, you need to figure out the game's language, and then once you figure that out, you can read the question, and then solving the question isn't exactly easy either, but that allows us to get a heart piece, which is one of the hardest. There are 3 of them, and those are sort of the most hidden items I'd say in the game. So now I use the bomb to open the door, and I drop down, which means I don't need to do that later. And here we're going to pick up one of the artifacts. So there are 4 artifacts in the game. Oops. There. And they sort of give you information about bits of language in the game. Or that one specifically is language. There are other ones that are numbers and such, so. This room is interesting because it loops. Alright, this room is interesting. And it has one of the coolest songs in the game. So, the song name in this room is Sync. And as you can see, the platforms are synced to the music. Alright. Oh, dang it. So if you're really precise, you can make it onto one of those platforms that you just saw disappear as it's disappearing. And you can get onto these platforms a cycle earlier than I am now. It's very precise. I'm not very good at it. But if you do that, it saves a good amount of time because these platforms are pretty slow. So there's some tech that I haven't explained yet. That it's hard to explain all of the tech in this game in a short amount of time. But one thing that I can do is anytime I'm on a corner, you can do a corner jump, which is an intended mechanic where basically you just jump off the corner at a high speed. But what's really cool is you can actually change which direction the game sends you right after doing the jump, but before it starts moving you. So it actually checks a few frames later. So you can use that when jumping off of a corner to sort of actually jump either straight up, so to not get sent in any direction, which we do quite a lot in the run. That's called a corner kick. And also a reverse corner jump, where it sort of sends you the opposite of the direction away from the corner, so it sends you into the corner. So I just wanted to explain those, because I'll be doing that quite a bit. And here, I'll be doing what's called perspective teleports. So, there was a corner kick, by the way. Oh, I missed it. So, perspective teleport, it teleports you to the back of the level if you're sandwiched in between 2 walls. And it's going to be really hard to explain it when I'm running, but if you're in between 2 walls and you rotate it such that that perspective is what's flattened. I had to make sure I entered the right number there. Then it will teleport you to the back of the level. And you can use that in various places. Like I just used it to help me climb this tower faster. And that was a reverse corner jump I just did right there. So, suffice to say that there's some complicated stuff that is pretty brain bending until you really get it. But once you do, you can do some really cool stuff with it. So, lock physics is a little bit weird in this game, which is because for basically anything in the game, any wall, you can just jump in front of it, right? Nothing actually blocks your path except for these blocks. And so, oh, did not want to do that. So, There's some weird stuff with them. And we used that to help solve that puzzle. Let's grab this corner. Right here, we'll use a perspective teleport. You can see how when I did the rotation, it teleported me behind one of the walls, and so that we can use it there to save some time. We gotta grab this chest. There's a key in it. And now here, I'm about to do what's called a fall cancel. So if you're falling and you land in front of a door and you press up to open that door, it will cancel the death animation that would normally happen when you fall. And I get to do that again in this room, actually. Oh, I did that wrong. It's okay. Here I'm using perspective teleportations all over the place. Alright, now this room has a little gimmick, which is that you can't actually rotate on your own. You have to go up to this little totem pole to rotate. So we do that. And here's another block puzzle. Uh-oh. Come on. That's the inventory. You don't normally want to open that in a run. I was dumb and rotated too early. Let's not do that. Alright, and that's this puzzle solved. And here we're using corner kicks and reverse corner jumps to climb up these corners way faster. Normally, if you grab onto a corner, you have to wait for a slow animation if you want to just get up. Oops. But by doing corner kicks and corner jumps, you can do it quickly. Okay, so here's one of the few RNG elements in this game. Black holes are things that start showing up in levels anytime you've been in a level more than one time. So here's another fall cancel I just did. But the black holes... Oh, this is an annoying place for them to be. They basically can change how you need to traverse the level. Yeah, they can... They're one of the few RNG elements in this game. There's really not many. But yeah, they'll start appearing in a level if you've been in that level before. So now we're going into the mines. There's a lot of just really cool atmospheric areas in this game. And so what's cool about full completion is you get to see all of them. which you typically you would not go in this room, for example, in an any percent run. Alright, now there's a glitch here. I'm going to try to get it. You can grab a bomb. Oh, I just missed it. But you can grab a bomb after it explodes. If you just grab it. It's a relatively tight window, but you can get it. So we can explode all those to get up here. And this bomb can go here. Blow that up. Oh no. Oh, I didn't want to land on the ground. I wanted to jump. Oh, it put me here. Okay, cool. Jump. Thank you. Alright, now we gotta let this explode all the way up. I'll walk into place here to get ready to go in that door when the time comes. That will explode, and while that's exploding, we're gonna go over here and get what's in this chest. And lastly, we can climb this with some perspective teleportation. And we are done with the mines. So, one thing I should mention is these little gates. So there's 5 main hub areas in the game, and you can see the hub areas based on where you have these sort of this big triangle behind, or this big square behind me. Anytime you see those cubes, those are the hub areas, and there's 5 of them in the game. And from each hub area, you can warp to the rest of them. And from the little gates, it warps you to the nearest hub area. So. I'm going to enter in a secret code while opening this door. And this should give me a cube. It does. And now, climb on these. And I wait to get the cube before going on these, because otherwise the animation will start of you collecting the cube on this, and then you'll fall and die. And you don't want that. So I wait a little bit before jumping on these to let the cube animation finish. Now I can get this cube. And there's an owl here. So we showed up just in time for it to be nighttime. Now we can go get the owl. This perspective in some of these areas, like that room I just did, really confused me for a while. Oops. But we'll enter in a secret code. Get this cube. And there are some invisible platforms here. Oops, I did that wrong. But there are some invisible platforms here, and I'm not going to tell you how to learn about them. But there are ways in-game that you can learn where the hidden platforms are, so definitely go play the game yourself, and you'll learn how to find all the secrets. Here I gotta perform a pretty precise jump. Oh, what? I thought I made that. Oh wow, I missed it twice in a row. That's annoying. There we go. That's more like it. And we'll use some perspective to get over there. And we gotta grab that bit, do a small fall cancel. It almost looks like you could fall that distance normally, but unfortunately it counts as a death. So, but you can fall cancel. And here we'll solve this puzzle. There's a secret code here that's just a little bit easier to enter in on a keyboard, so I very quickly switched to keyboard to enter in that code. And there's the floating worm. There's a worm that was floating for a brief amount of time. Okay. So I used a secret code to spawn this cube. Now is usually a good time to do it. So here's an interesting, here's something interesting. In this room, in any percent, we get a cube, but it turns out it's kind of a glitch because in that previous room, that code is kind of a shared cube. There's technically another place where you can enter in the same code and get a cube. It's technically the same cube, but due to a glitch, you can actually sort of collect it twice. And so in any percent, we do that. But here in full completion, there's no reason to collect any cubes twice, because then that would just be wasting time doing it again. In that previous room, you saw I missed a bit, right? And you might be thinking, oh no, I missed it. But actually, that's fine. I went into that room to unlock a secret. A shortcut door. There's a few shortcut doors that only unlock when you've already been in both of the rooms. And so I go in that room just so later I can take a shortcut door and go back. So I haven't missed a bit. And here, this room has not one, but two codes. Right? And the second one, once again, is a heart cube for solving a very difficult puzzle, but actually, due to what I think is a pretty big oversight in the puzzle's construction, while trying to solve the puzzle, you can very easily solve it by accident. Even if you don't know the correct way to do it. You might end up accidentally solving that one due to how they constructed that puzzle. So, solving it the intended way is, I think, very hard. Alright, we're actually making pretty good pace right now. So in this room there is an owl. And we're gonna go talk to the owl. Because it's nighttime. I did that a little backwards than I normally do. That is another one of the 4 artifacts. So we go in there just to get that. And here we get a cube. Now we could take this warp back, but it's actually faster to take this shortcut door, which is why we went into that room earlier. Now we can collect this bit. And now we're back here. Ooh. Let's not fall. Well, now we can fall because I got everything. Cube. You know, a good amount of this is just sort of going into rooms and collecting bits and leaving. These rooms have like lore in them. Like there's things inscripted on some of the walls. So in a casual playthrough, you'd spend more time in those rooms reading the walls and trying to figure out what they mean. But this is a speedrun. We're not really doing anything lore right now. We're just kind of going. Ooh, I almost missed my jump there. As you can see, I'm using perspective a lot to sort of get to, like, I'll rotate and then rotate again, and it moves me horizontally across the level because I walked in front of an object, and the game is sort of putting me in front of the object. So I do that quite a lot in this run to save time. Alright, here is artifact number 3. I'm going to go grab that. In this room, which has a lot of books and a single couch. Just one couch. Even all these books, you know, you'd expect there to be more than one couch. It's just a single person couch right there. This room has even more books in it. Have a bit. Okay, so now we enter one of the glitchiest rooms in the game. So sometimes it likes to crash, so I'm glad it didn't just crash. But what we do here is, coming up, there's a puzzle called the Clock Tower. And basically what you need to do is, in your casual playthrough, figure out what time each of the 4 cubes appear. So there are 4 cubes, and they appear with different levels of frequency. So now I'm going to use a script to actually set my system time. So here I've just changed my system time, so now I can get these cubes. That's 3 of them, and I'm going to set my system time once again to get me the last cube. So, yeah, I've got 32 cubes now. That's good. And now I can climb up. Did I leave myself enough time? This one can be kind of tricky. Okay, we're good. Alright, that went pretty well. And now I will set my system time back to normal, because I don't want that to mess up any of my internet connections or anything. But yeah, that went pretty smooth actually, right there. And yeah, in your casual playthrough, you'll probably also still need to just set your system time, unless you actually want to wait and figure out what the right times are where you need to be there for the cubes to show up. And here, we'll use this hub to warp back to that first hub area that we were in. And now we are finished with this area. The next area we'll be going to is the arch. I did that weird. But And yeah, there's a jump coming up that's pretty tricky. I mess this jump up pretty often. I'm still trying to... Whoops, I didn't want to do that. I'm still trying to learn the consistent strats. Yeah, so that jump right there, you don't want it to put you behind the level. You want to put you in front of the level so you can just go straight to that set of vines, but I messed it up. Oh no. That's fine. Once again, there's more invisible platforms. And since I'm speedrunning, I already know that they're there. That chest has an anti-cube in it, we'll get it. And this one has a key. I'm bad at that throw. Sometimes I'll miss it, so I'm glad that I made the throw that time. And here the camera sort of zooms in off-center due to a weird glitch. But okay. Throw that. Okay, good. That made it. I'm also bad at that throw. Sometimes I'll miss it as well. And that should give me a cube. Yay. Okay. I'll go here, and this will give us a cube. Now, we could take this little gate back, but we don't want to because there's more stuff in Arch that we haven't done yet. So we're going to go there instead. Go down. Alright, now I have another chance to get this jump that I failed earlier. I have to do it again, so let's see if I can show it to you guys. Yes, there we go. That's what it looks like. You just go straight to those vines. Alright, so here's a room that we don't normally go in except in full completion, because it's just a map. So, casually, you do want to find this map, but in a speedrun, we don't really need it. Now, this climb in Arch has some pretty interesting movement, so if I want to do well, I'm going to need to do a lot of corner kicks and interesting perspective rotations, so... Oh, I do that sometimes. You can go too far, so you don't even grab the corner. You're grabbing the ledge. And then you need to press a different button to do that, so I'll often just miss it. That was good. Make it! Okay, cool. I made that cycle. And in any percent, we do take that warp, but here we don't. We want to climb back down. Let's not do it badly. We want to climb down so we can go in this shortcut door. I don't know why I did that weirdly, but it's okay. We're going into this room. So this room, so I should give a fair warning. If you have epilepsy, maybe look away for a little bit. And also the stream quality is probably going to go down. This room is pretty hard to encode, so bitrate issues will happen in this room. Let's go the right way. Alright. And we will take this warp. And everything is back to normal now, so... Alright, and now we will go to the Lighthouse. Oh, okay. I was afraid I might die in that jump. Okay. So the Lighthouse is very similar to what we would do in any percent. We're just going to go in here and collect some stuff. But there is one more room that we need to get. Once again here, I enter a code while going through this door. And this room has some of my favorite perspective manipulation in the game. So I'll open this up just to get ready. Now that bit over there, I need to get this bit, but I want to do this before I rotate before I land on the ground. So that way I don't have to do any more rotations. And then I can just jump straight over to the bridge, and that skips the entire... So you can see the very end of the bridge there. I get to basically traverse that entire area by doing one rotation, right? So in that room, the rotation aspect can save you a lot of time, and it's like some of my favorite in the whole game. Oh, yeah, I missed one of my jumps. If you're really good, you can make it all up to the 4th ladder. It's a little tricky, so I'm not consistent at it. It's a little bit of like a cycle there. You can do a fall damage cancel. And this is another room where there is sort of a shared puzzle. We don't actually need to do anything in that room because we solve the sort of the same puzzle, but we solve it somewhere else. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Alright, so we can just faintly hear in the background the music for an area that's coming up. But unfortunately, we're not going to go there yet. We gotta go take care of some other stuff first. We go in this shortcut door. We'll be back very shortly. We gotta open all these doors. And we gotta do a little bit of stuff here. So this area has got some lore in it. All of these, what I call cube doors, they're doors that you need to have a certain number of cubes to open them, and all of them sort of give you different like tidbits of lore. And so here we're sort of seeing, the ancient civilizations that only existed in 2 dimensions, right? So you can see sort of everything is 2 dimensions, and in fact, in these areas that I'm in, so this little sub-room, for example, I actually can't even rotate. Like this room sort of solely exists in 2 dimensions. And that's the case with a lot of these, right? So that's some of like this game's lore, right? Back in the ancient times, things were only 2-dimensional, and the perspective teleport. That's like one of the most visual ones in the game, I'd say. Oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. Yeah, that one that I just did to get the bit up top is just a very visual. You can just see it teleports you. It teleported me to the right. So that's a pretty good example of that. Alright. Uh-oh, I messed it up. I'm not exactly sure what I messed up there, but I messed up the entering of this secret code. So that lost, a few seconds, so... Not the best, but it's not too bad. With a run that's this long, this run should be, about an hour and a half. Mistakes like that are going to happen, but, until you get really good, which I'm not the best, but, Oh. Alright. And now this is something that's going to be a little interesting. So again, this is some lore stuff. This area that's coming up, you might think it actually looks a little bit familiar. This area looks similar to one of the ones that we visited earlier, except instead of being overgrown with vines, this one's inhabited with people. So there's a sort of a bit of a time loop element to this game's lore, where it's kind of the same area twice. Now we're in the past, but the other time we visited was in the future, or I guess the present. Not really sure which one's which, but it's either way, it's a pretty cool aspect of this game's lore. Grab a cube. So there we grab onto that little orange tent, I guess, to sort of move us to the correct depth. That's some perspective stuff we gotta do. We do that before rotating. Otherwise, we'd have to walk. We'd have to walk a distance. And so rather than walking the distance, we just grab onto something which is at the right depth. And this is the last door we need to open up in the game. And I'm going to wait a sec for it to fully drop down. We walk in front of it because we already have enough cubes. We could just go beat the game right now. But we don't want to do that. There's still some more stuff to do. So we're going to go back in the shortcut door that we were already in. And now we actually get to go into this area, which has some really cool music. This whole game's soundtrack, by the way, is amazing. I don't remember if I mentioned this when we were in the sync room, but this game's soundtrack is fantastic by Disaster Piece. It's like one of the best parts of the game. And this level has, I think, some pretty cool music. So the sort of gimmick of this area is that there are rotating platforms that rotate beneath you. Yeah, I did some perspective to get over there quickly. The rotating platforms will rotate underneath you, changing your perspective. So you gotta watch out for that. Here's a bit that I always forget to get. Oops. Because it's like kind of hidden. So I have forgotten that bit before, and it costs a lot of time if you forget it. Alright, so here we get to do an intentional death. Let's do it from this perspective. Do an intentional death to just grab that bit, and it puts us right back up. And now we don't need to worry about rotating anything or whatever like we did down there. Alright, so we have to wait for an owl here. It's becoming nighttime, so I expect... Oh no, don't miss it. Okay. Ah, I missed it. That's kind of a bummer. I rotated the wrong direction when I came into this room, so I had to wait. That's on me. Yeah, when I get out of this room, there should hopefully be an owl that's like flying in. Yeah, I like to just open that door in the meantime. Here's the owl. Alright, and that was the last owl in the game. So I made all 4 owl cycles in the game. So that was actually pretty good. If you miss one, you have to wait for the rest of the day-night cycle, which is about 5.5 minutes. So you know, in a speedrun, you really don't want to miss one, because that's just like, basically, you know, that ends your run. But this time, we didn't miss any, so we are doing good. I can use a weird glitch here to sort of jump off of that ladder and get more height than you're supposed to get. And yeah, a lot of the music in this game is dynamic. It changes based on what time of day it is. So now it's sort of doing the nighttime version of the music. Pretty interesting. So since I got the last owl, that means the rest of this game, like basically every frame matters now, right? Other than there's a few more rooms with cycles in them, but there's no big overarching cycles where I basically can't lose time, or, you know, like even if I do a perfect, I have to wait in the end. There's no more of that, right? So I have to play well the rest of the run. Which, to be fair, I did have to play pretty well to make the cycles anyway, so. Here I rotate them both in a certain way so I can get into this door. Since I'm speedrunning, I already know which way is I need to turn it. So that's pretty nice. Normally you're kind of supposed to rotate to get that ladder, but if you know it's there, you can just go to the left, and you don't need to rotate. Because rotating pauses the sort of in-game... It pauses the world time, right? So you don't move when you're rotating. So you want to minimize the amount of rotations that you can do just throughout the whole game. Because when you're rotating, you can't move. But when it lets you traverse quickly, like that, you do want to rotate, of course. These rotating platforms can be super trolly. And in fact, sometimes there's a glitch where they can just straight up kill you. No, I didn't have enough momentum. That one's on me. Please make it. Ah, oh, not quite. So yeah, like I said, there are still some cycles in this game. So there are still some things you gotta make. I pressed up. No. There's a pretty tricky jump here I'm gonna go for. Yep. Oh no. That bridge, if you know, you can... it's sort of an interesting thing where when you rotate it, everything lines up, so you can just run right across. But if you know which one to land on, you can actually just start on one of them. That's about halfway through the bridge, so it actually you get to save some time by not starting at the very beginning. Here I get this map, and in full completion you just have to, but in no other category do you get that map, because it's just one of those maps that is just, you know, you need it in your casual playthrough to get everything. Here we can do some perspective stuff to wait, to not need to wait for the ladder to go all the way around. Because normally that ladder, you can see it sort of goes around, so you're supposed to get on the ladder and then wait for it to go around, but with some perspective stuff, you can avoid that, which is pretty neat. Alright, so we have one more section left in this industrial area, but we're actually not going to do it yet. We're going to take a detour and go into a different area called the sewers. And then we'll finish this area when we get back. Here's the entrance to the sewers, and you go down the pipe, like in some other games you may have seen. And here we go. The sewers are pretty interesting. So the gimmick here is this water, right? So we've already seen some water that you can rotate in the game, but here in the sewer there's basically rotatable, or water that you can raise and lower in like a lot of the rooms. So that's the sort of main gimmick here. This is the hub area for the sewers. And of course, as you can see, it's got this sort of original Game Boy 2-bit color aesthetic, which is pretty cool. Alright, so here, there's a puzzle that, with a very precise jump, you can skip this puzzle, and it's going to take me a few tries. Damn. Nice, I got it. That was still faster than actually doing the room normally. That trick is apparently 2 frame-perfect jumps back-to-back. Like 2 frame-perfect tricks back-to-back. Which is funny, I can do the trick, but I actually don't know what 2 things about it are frame-perfect. So maybe I should learn what those are so I can explain it better, but... you basically have to jump at the latest... I'm assuming one of them is the latest possible frame you can jump. So we'll lower the water to get this key. Go in this area. We can ride this up to this platform. So these levels, when I started learning them for the speedrun and like in my casual playthrough, I always found them very confusing. So, because there's a lot of different rooms. Oh, wait. There's a lot of rooms. They all, a lot of them kind of look the same, right? Because they're all just kind of green. But once you learn them all, it's quite cool. Oh, don't fall. So here in this next room, there's a fast cycle that I want to make. Boom. By you doing a perspective trick, you can get onto that sort of faster than you can just by going around normally. And maybe you can do it by going around normally, but it's hard. I haven't been able to do it. There's a perspective trick for it. Alright, since there are black holes in this room, that's a little annoying. Gotta take this bit a little more carefully, but I just want to raise this once, and that lets me get... If you raise it all the way, you can't get this bit. So, only want to raise it once. Oh, I did that the wrong way. That's another faster cycle. If you do a perspective, you can make that cycle earlier. And I did it, but I did it the wrong way. I couldn't remember which direction I was supposed to teleport. So other than that, that was pretty good. And there, just a little bit of sloppiness in one of the previous rooms. I had to think for a second about where to go because there's a lot in this run. But we'll go in here. Once again, this is another one of the shared puzzles. That there's multiple rooms that share the same sort of secret code. We already got this in a different place, so no reason to get it again here. So we're almost done with the sewer. We basically only have one area left. But unfortunately, this area takes a very long time, and there's some more categories. So at the end of this area, we get an anti-cube. But even in the category all anti-cubes, we do a duplication glitch in one of those ones that I mentioned earlier, where I said in any percent we do it. This is not the anti-cube, by the way. This is fast anti-cube that we always get. But even in the category all anti-cubes, we don't get this anti-cube because it just takes so long to do. And you'll see why. So it's basically an auto-scroller. So I can go ahead and just, rush forward, which I will. Basically the only thing you can do to lose time is rotate extra times. So you want to rotate the smallest number of times. So basically every single one of these rotations is forced. We're like locked in a little box and we need to rotate to get to the next area. But yeah, so there's some rising lava. And we just have to wait for it. So this You know, if there's like donations, now is like the time for the donations, right? So I do some stuff to try to minimize rotations there. Like I grab that ladder sideways rather than rotating to face it. So here I fell, but it doesn't matter. I can just keep going. And we need to do a rotation at the end here. And now we wait for the lava. This is the most epic FEZ gameplay that you've ever seen, that's for sure. There it is, it's coming. So in this room, basically all I gotta do is rotate to avoid the sort of walls that will damage you if you hit them. Alright, and after waiting through all that, we still gotta make this one jump, which I always find really scary, but it's not that bad. I just get scared by it because you lose so much if you don't make that jump. Okay, and that is the end of sewers. Basically, we're just gonna take one shortcut door out of here, and then go back to industrial and wrap that up a little bit. I didn't die? I thought you're supposed to die if you don't grab onto the ladder. Huh. I've been spending extra time grabbing the ladder the whole time. Guess I learned something. Alright, so we're back in industrial, and there's a secret door, which takes us sort of to where we left off here, right? So here's where we were, where we entered sewer, and now we're back. And we just have a little bit, we have one more section of industrial left to do. I do that sometimes. Yeah, there's these sort of moving platforms, you just kind of gotta wait on them. Oops, I rotated too soon. Alright, here we do some perspective shenanigans to get to the other side of that ladder. Bam. Alright, now these moving plates can be a little tricky, but luckily they just all lined up for me there. They just let me jump up all of them. They don't normally do that. I don't think it's RNG, I think it's just based on timing, but I guess I did the timing good that time so that they all lined up. Very kind of them. Alright, so that is the end of Industrial. Now, we're moving on to the last hub world of the game. We're going on to the Graveyard. So if you noticed earlier, there was a little cabin when we were climbing the tree that we did not go into. We're going to go into it this time, and it'll take us to a new area. Oh gosh, let's not do that. Some cool corner jump movement there. So we go into this cabin, and then we leave the cabin, and we're in a different place. What? How does that work? That should complete a cube. Alright, and now we enter the final area, or the final hub world of the game. And this will be where we get the remaining cubes that are left. So the reason we had to talk to 4 owls was because of this room. As you can see, it's got a nice owl statue in it. And there we go, we got some owls coming in. And if you talk to all 4 owls, they will open this door for you, I guess. And then once you go in there, you get 1 cube bit and an anti-cube. So that's why we need to talk to 4 owls and wait for the owl cycles. It's all because of those, that 1 cube and 1 bit. Well, and because this is full completion, so you need to solve everything anyway. Oh, don't fall. So I can jump. I rotated so I could jump in front of the tree and bring me closer to this door. Once again, I'll do a similar thing here. I'll rotate, jump in front of the tree, and then rotate, and that puts me here. Oops, I rotated the wrong way. And here's we're gonna get the last artifact. Remember how I said there were 4 artifacts? We already got 3 of them. This is the last one. And this is one of the few RNG elements in the game. This is basically like the only other one I can think of. Oops, I'm climbing up. I don't even need to do that. Is where it spits you out. So that one was very good. But there are 4 that you need to go into in a specific order to get this last artifact. And so it's RNG where it puts you. But once we go in the doors, which again, it's up to you to figure out how to do that. I messed up. I messed that up. That's okay. You can go in here, sort of go way out into the distance. It's like hard to even notice it's there, except if you rotate, you can briefly see it. And that's how you get the skull artifact. Grab it. Alright, so now we have all 4 artifacts. We'll collect some bits. And we gotta wait a little bit here because we need to wait for the 8 bits to collect. We'll go on some invisible platforms. So you can see these invisible platforms, when the lightning strikes, you can see them. And that's sort of one of the gimmicks of this area. But you can also see little bits of rain on top of them. So if you already kind of, you know, if you look really hard, you can see them. Which is helpful if you already know they're there. If you don't know where they are at all, it can be hard to see. But if you know they're there, that can make that a lot easier. It's getting dark out. I should have turned on a light. But that's okay. I didn't need to land on the tree, but go here, get a bit. And go into this area here. This coming room, this next room, it took me a while to learn it, because you do some pretty cool perspective stuff if you want to do it quickly. You can grab onto that from this perspective and then jump through this wall kind of backwards, which is kind of cool. Then rotate 180 and drop all the way back down. There's a gate, but we don't want it because there's still stuff we have to do. There's a thing where we can use a bomb to blow up a wall here, but it's faster to do a perspective teleport there. I have also forgotten to get this bit before. That's, again, a huge time loss. And we will take this warp. You can only take warps one way, right? These warps take you to the hub, but from the hubs, you can't go back to these little warps. So if you forget the bit like I did once, you have to climb all the way back up, and that's a huge waste of time. Now we'll collect these 2 bits we didn't get earlier. Oops, why did I do that? Let's just do this. While also jumping up to one of those invisible platforms. And we are coming up on our final cubes in the game. So we have 62 cubes, you can see in the speedrun overlay. There are 64 of them, so we just need to get a few more bits. And solve a puzzle to open up this skull. And that's their final golden cube. We collected 8 bits. And this right here is the final anti-cube. That is 64 cubes. Now we're not quite done yet. There's still one more heart piece left that we get by solving a very, I'd say, significant puzzle. So like I said, the heart pieces are very hard puzzles. Solving them requires being smarter than me. I did not figure them out on my casual playthrough. But this one in particular, which I'll be going to right now, which I think is fitting that it's the last thing you get in a full completion run. This heart piece right here, this room is known as the Black Monolith, and you'll see why shortly. Because by entering a code, you can spawn a Black Monolith. And this, you can figure that out on your own. But then, you need to enter in another code to actually get the heart piece. And to this day, in 2020, nobody knows why the code that you need to enter in is the code. People found it by brute force. It took, the community a week, right, of just people getting together and trying different combinations, and eventually they found it. But to this day, we still don't know what the combination for, how you're supposed to find it. So that puzzle is very significant. Now that we have all 64 cubes, we can go into this room, which you need all 64 cubes to get. And this room shows you the heart pieces. So there they are, all 3 of them. And so yeah, since we have them all, we get to see them, which is nice. And that's the last thing we need to do in the run. So the rest of the run is just going back to the that 32 cube door that we already opened, and going in there and beating the game. Oh, it's getting really dark. I definitely should have turned on a light, but and here is the Stargate. And kind of a bit of waiting time. So if there are more donations, we need to wait for the Stargate to open. And then once we enter it, we also need to wait for a sort of long cutscene where it pans down and you get to get a whole view of the moon area, which is where we're going. So if there are more donations, now is a good time. Alright, so now we're getting started. So the moon area is interesting. It has low gravity compared to the rest of the game. And so the sort of platforming is different than most of the game. And all your actions are sort of slowed as well. All your rotations are slowed, all grabbing corner animations are slowed. So you really want to get through as fast as possible. So if you're really good, and I almost got it there, you can make it all the way up to this and jump in this little door without turning at all. It's called turnless. I had to turn once, which is not too bad, but yeah, if I just didn't grab one of those corners down at the bottom, I think I might have gotten it. But that is FEZ. The time doesn't end yet. It ends shortly. And in fact, I think this is actually going to be a personal best for me in this submission. And in fact, that's also a new world record. I am currently the world record holder for this category. There aren't very many runners of this category, so it's not, I'm not really patting myself on the back too much. But this run, it actually looks like it's going to be a new record. So it's pretty cool. Didn't expect to do that when I started submitting this. And time is ending very shortly, so it's going to zoom in on my room. I'm going to walk through a door, and time ends when I'm finished walking through the door. So it's going to end right about... and time. So that is time. And in fact, that's a world record by almost 2 minutes. My current time is a 1:26:54, and now this is almost a sub 1:25. So that was not too bad. And that's in-game time. As you can see, real time, which I left live split there to show the real time. That was a 1 hour 24 minutes. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, I guess that's the end of my submission. So for the people at Indiethon, thanks for hosting this. Looks pretty fun. I will go through a little bit more because I want to verify that I actually got every part of the map as gold, so I can submit this. Because this is actually a new world record. So if you're just here to watch the Indiethon, you don't need to watch the rest of this because you have to sit through some cutscenes and stuff. But nice. It feels pretty good. Feels pretty good. Let's get out of there. And let's say start new game plus. And unfortunately, that's not it. We gotta sit through a little bit more before we can actually view our map. So again, this is not going to be, if you guys choose to accept this run, if Indiethon, you guys do it, this one, I'm not going to show this. 125.04. Wow. I knew a 125 was possible, and I was thinking maybe a 124 was possible with like my strats. And yeah, now I know for sure 124 is actually not that hard. I'll just need to do everything again and save 4 seconds. So it's just turnless. If I got turnless, that would have been a 124, I think. I think turnless saves about 4 or 5 seconds. You might think we already have the FEZ. What are they going to give us? Some 3D glasses. Okay, so now let's make sure I didn't miss anything, because if I did, I'll be really sad, because this run was pretty good. Gold, 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 and gold. Sweet! New full completion world record by almost 2 minutes. Let's go! Okay. Sweet! As part of my submission, too, I did not think I was going to get that. I thought I might get a record by like a little bit, but 2 minutes? Alright. Well, I call that a success. Alright, I guess I will get this uploaded. Thank you for watching.